Hi guys, this is Ray from Diablo3blog.com. Tonight I'm making a video to both update some older videos, which are out of date now, and to answer a question. The question being, what area am I going to focus on when it comes to making money in Diablo 3? Now it's a good question, and there are many ways in which you can make money in this game. There are many niches, and a lot of people are going to focus on niches and focus very tightly on small areas. For example, on selling shoulder items only, or selling one gem conversion only. And I'm going to have my own niches too, but I think it's very important, and most of those other players who are selling in certain niches will also think it's important to have a wider strategy. And so I'm going to talk first of all about one of my niches, which I've covered before, but as I said, it needs updated, and also about the overall philosophy or tactics or strategy that has made me decide to choose this niche, and that I can use to identify other niches. Okay, so I'm looking at equipment for the Witch Doctor, one-handed items, all one-hand item types, and rarity rare. We're going to sort these by reverse price order, and what we do is we simply go through and identify items that have a very low bid price, and we bid on them. Now when the game launches, there will be a lot more of these than there are now, and the calculations that I use and you will use to establish the maximum bid price that you want to invest will change. For example, gold will not be worth anywhere near as much as it is now in the beta, especially the closing hours of the beta, where the price of gold has started to climb to 14 beta bucks for 1,000 gold. But also the salvageable components of these kinds of rare items will be more desirable, because in the beta as it stands, fallen teeth have no value, petrified bark have no value, because the items that you craft with those two materials can't be equipped by anybody, because the level cap of 13 is below the minimum level requirement for all of those items. So you place a lot of bids on these, and you can use this section, the bid monitoring section of the gold auction house, to keep track of these items once you've invested to the number you would like to invest in. There's no limit on the amount of bids you can have. It's a buyer's market. The only limitations are your gold and of course seller limitations, 10. So you can see I'm not winning this, but perhaps I want to invest more. And once you win some of these, you won't win all of them, but you will win some. For example, this one should just be bought out. We'll use this as an example. Once you win one of these items, you move to the real money auction house. Now this technique falls under the arbitrage category, because we're buying from one auction house and selling on another. But we'll simply take this item, which we bought for 500 gold, which at the current market rate is 7 beta bucks, and we list it for more. Now I buy most items for 300 gold or less, which at the usual rate of beta gold per dollar is around 2 bucks. And then I list them all for around 8 or 9 bucks. I listed that one for higher because I spent 500 for purposes of this example. But as you can see, although these items have no value in the gold auction house, they sell on the real money auction house. Not all of them will sell, but as you can see, 975, 875, 975, 975, 975, 975. It's a steady stream of income. Combined with other streams of income, it should net you reasonable profit. Now what I'm doing when I find niches like this is I'm identifying opportunity based on player psychology. You don't have to be Sigmund Freud, but it is important to realize that people buy and people sell for different psychological reasons. For example, behavior patterns exhibited by enough individuals will dictate the price in a market. So if you know historically how a group of people, an online MMO marketplace, will behave, you will know where you can make money. Let's just look at some psychological traits that players exhibit. Players are impatient, players are fearful, players are lazy, and players are ignorant. Now that sounds like I've just taken a pop at a lot of people, but bear with me and I'll explain. We know players historically behave impatiently. How many times do you think those players that listed their items, those rares they got, at 5,000 gold, 6,000 gold, perhaps 20,000 gold, how many times did they list at that price before they dropped down to the buy it removed with a silly low bid price? Probably not very long. The flow of a market isn't something they want to examine or ponder. Buying and holding isn't a strategy that they employ. That's not how they work. Historically, players also behave fearfully. The first response when a player doesn't sell an item once or twice at the value they think the item is worth is to drop the price completely. They're afraid they'll get nothing for the item. They think that they've lost the money that they thought the item was worth, even though the item is never guaranteed to make that money. But ironically, a lot of them often guess the value quite correctly. They have a good gut knowledge of prices in the market, they've seen enough, but they're afraid to wait in case the opportunity evades them, so they panic and lower the price. Historically, players also behave lazily, and this is why in the beta auction house those items sell for more in the real money section than they do in the gold auction house. Players don't want to check every possible place for items. If we search here again for the Witch Doctor's one-hand rare items, you'll see the pages and pages you'll get. Players don't want to search through all that to find the best bargain. And if we switch to the exact same search in the real money auction house, you'll see that there's 3 pages. And when the game launches, once an item drops below a certain price threshold, it will not be sold on the real money auction house. It will be transferred to the gold auction house. So the influx of rare items that we'll see when the game launches will move from the real money auction house to the gold auction house, meaning that it takes more effort to search through the gold auction house than it does to search through the real money auction house. Furthermore, players that want to hear facts such as magic items for a similar value can have better stats and DPS than rare items. They don't want to know this. Designers know the players want a quick, easy colour chart telling them which items are better than others. Players will start with legendary searches, then rare, then magic, and they probably won't go below that, even though if we search for superior items, you'll find some decent DPS. And historically, players behave ignorantly. There'll be a massive influx of rare items when this game launches, as I've already stated. This is because the Skeleton King and perhaps more bosses are guaranteed to drop rare items with your first run through on each character. This will flood the market with rare yellow items and their value will plummet and they will move to the gold auction house. But that's only while there are players playing through these sections for the first time. What else are all these rare yellow items useful for? they're useful for crafting, but a lot of people won't start crafting until they get stung in the ass with an expensive item that they realise they could have made, even though they don't take into account the fact that you have to invest 200,000 gold to make that item with the artisan sync. That's besides the point. They will simply take up crafting later in the game. So the informed player might surmise that holding on to these rares until the market drains a bit is the smart thing to do. But most players won't have read about or been guided by a blog or a guide. They won't have read the official forums. They won't have checked any number of places, fan sites, all sorts, where they could have got this information. This is simply how other players in online games behave. And this is my grand scale trick or secret, which is not a trick and is not a secret. And even though I broadcast it here, and some of you might begin to see the wisdom of my ways, it won't help the vast majority of players. Because those players, historically, on online games, behave in a reasonably natural way for someone who wants to have fun. They don't want to analyse their actions too much. In this game they'll want to smash things and buy better stuff. Now others, like you who are watching, and like myself, do like a bit of analysis and like to make a bit of money in a separate metagame. And that's okay, there's room for both of us. This is how we all made money, those of us who did, in World of Warcraft or EVE, and this is how other players had fun, in their own special way. Each of us should play how we want, even if those who just want to have fun and smash things and don't do any research do spend most of their time broke, especially if they spend most of their time broke, in fact. Yeah, I think we want them to be broke in terms of gold a lot of the time. Well guys, thanks for watching. Feel free to tell me how you think I'm right or how you think I'm wrong. I love a good debate. And sign up over at my blog, Diablo3blog.com. The link to that is below. And I wish you all the best of luck with the Diablo 3 Real Money Auction House. Good night.